Hello and welcome to another video. Today guys, we're back in my sketchbook and today we're going to be inking in this drawing of Kira. I was thinking about what I wanted to draw and I was like, I don't know, but I think I wanted it to be something with Kira. And so I was like, what would I draw with Kira? And I was thinking about poker a little bit because I was like, would Kira be good or bad at poker? So I was like, it would be funny if she was bad at poker because she's like so very put together and like very domineering kind of, and just like very good at like everything she does. I thought it would be funny if she was bad at poker, but I thought it would be even funnier if she was good at poker but she just had no poker face. So every time she had like a really good hand, like it was very obvious. And so she's like really good at poker but she can't win that much money because everybody knows when she's doing well and they like fold and back out. So that's what this is. So the expectation is that she's like really good at poker and she's got like a great poker face and she's always winning, but the reality is she's got a terrible poker face, and so she always wins because she is good at poker, but she never wins as much as she could if she had a better poker face. So that's just what this little drawing is, and today we're going to actually just ink this. I thought about making it like a full color piece, but then I was like, I don't want to, and I did a color on the page before. This is literally only the second page of my sketchbook, you guys. So yeah, the page before this, I did like a drawing of Kamau. It's not like super shaded or anything like that, but it is colored. And I was like, well, let's just do something with ink. It's been a long time since I did anything with ink, really. And so these are our tools for today. We have my high-tech C. I like high-tech C's for lining. I just really like really thin lines. But in case the high-tech C won't go over the pencil, I have a Pilot Precise V5, which is a little bit thicker. It says it's extra fine, but it's not as fine as the high-tech C. I think this is a 0.5. So it's a little bit thicker in case the high-tech C does not want to go over the pencil. We have a Pentel Art Brush pen. This is just to fill in all of the black space because her outfit is black. Her hair is also black. And so that's what we're going to be filling in with that. And then we have Ecoline brush pen to fill in like the shaded areas like her cheeks and like her fingers. I like blushies on the fingers, and that's just what that is for. And yeah, I would probably use this Posca pen at the end to add whites to things. Like, this is all going to be black, so I'm going to need to add white outlines to see where her body is when I color all that in black, like to show off where her arms are and stuff. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today, you guys. Hopefully it's going to go well. I am not erasing these lines at all because I'm lazy and it takes forever. I guess we'll start with this one. You guys know that I don't really like to ink on camera usually, just because I'm so very bad at it. I'm glad that the high-tech C is going over the pencil though. But I figured I was going to ink this anyway to see how well this paper takes ink. And it's been a while since I did an inking video for you guys, so I figured that I would just go ahead and do it. I'm not doing so great with making sure that I'm doing a sketchbook spread every day though. After I finished my last sketchbook, I was like, I'll just take a little bit of a break. It's not a big deal, right? I didn't take too much of a break. It's been about 3 days since I started this sketchbook, so I should really have more pages done in it. This is only the second page I have on here. So I should have 6 at this point, but it's fine. After I do this, I'm gonna just go ahead and start doing what I would normally do in a sketchbook for my sketchbook spreads. I just need a little bit of a break. And if I'm being honest, you guys, I have not been doing well with with my New Year's resolutions. How are you guys on your New Year's resolutions first off? Are you still keeping up with them? Like I said, I'm not doing very well with mine. I'll talk about the positives first before I like start ragging on myself for not being able to do my New Year's resolutions. So, first and foremost, the goal that I have been able to keep for the month of January is I have been able to consistently write 50 words a day. Now, when I made that goal, I knew that I was going to be able to do that because the problem with me is never been able to write. Like, I'm a very wordy person, so whenever I'm writing, I'm always like, I can write a large amount. That's like never been the issue. The issue's been being consistent. So I've never been able to consistently write every day. And so with that, I've been doing really well. I haven't missed a single day of writing at least 50 words. And honestly, you guys, I never write just 50 words. The least amount of words I do per day is usually 70. I'm not going to change the goal though, just in case, because sometimes I don't really want to write. And even on those days, so that I don't really want to write, I still write like 70 words. So I'm glad that I'm able to do the writing thing at least, because I'm like, that's good. And now for the rest of my goals, I have failed every single other goal that I've had. So one of my goals has been to draw in my sketchbook every single day, or at least a sketchbook spread every single day. And I just said I failed that. I took a break for this one. Even in the last one, I had missed like 2 days, I think, where I hadn't sketched anything in it. Well, it's not that I hadn't sketched anything. It's just I had done one page. I hadn't finished the full spread. So I'd been sketching. I just didn't do the whole spread. Like, that was the goal. And so, like, okay, well, that's fine. Oh, and just so you guys know, I did fail these things, but I'm not stopping doing them. The goals still remain the same, even though it's February, like, and I failed them. It's not a big deal. Like, I think it's only really a failure if you give up. So I'm not giving up. I'm still continuing to do what I've been doing. Like, I'm still going to be writing every day. I'm still going to be trying to do a sketchbook spread per day. Sure, sometimes we have a setback, but it doesn't mean like, oh, I failed for the whole year. I might as well just not do it at all. I don't believe in that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm not giving up. But this is just like just to see where I'm at sort of thing. So yeah, so I failed that goal of having a sketchbook spread per day, and that's all right. And then my other goal was to read one book per month, but the maximum amount of books I was allowed to read was 2. Because the same thing with writing is that it's not that I cannot read one book per month. It's like, not that I don't have like the ability to read one book per month. It's that when I get into reading, I will just read and do nothing else. And I'll just read a book as fast as I can because I'm enjoying it so much. And then I feel like I don't really retain them that much. And then that's the issue for me. So that's the reason why the goal was just one book per month. So that way I could sit with the book a little bit longer. And the max was 2. So that way I wouldn't be like devouring books so much. The problem with that is that I have no restraint. And so the whole point of just the 2 was to show some fucking restraint, you guys. But unfortunately, I started reading a series of books, and if you give me a series, and especially if it's finished, it was a finished series of books. I think I talked about it a little bit. It was Wolfsong, the Wolfsong books by T.J. Klune, and I read the first one, and I was like, that was so good. And I was like, well, there's 4 of the books, and they're all finished. The series is finished. I looked that up before I finished the first book. I was like, is the series done? And they're like, yep, it's finished. It's completely done. There's no more books planned. If you want to read them, they're all right there. That's the whole story, right? And I was like, interesting. So all 4 books are done. So if I wanted to read the whole story in one shot, I could do that. And so I started reading them. I read the first one, and I was like, that was good. And they were all available at my library on the Libby app, which is what I use for books because I don't really want to drive to the library to get a book. And also, I don't want to pay for books. I don't like owning books, you guys. Even in like the digital space, like on a Kindle or whatever, I don't really like to own books. I just feel like they take a lot of space. So I was like, okay, all 4 books are available in my library right now, currently. I don't know why they're not more popular in my library, but they weren't. So they're like, they're ready to go whenever you want to read them. And I was like, And so I ended up reading all 4 books. And the thing is that the first Wolfsong book was my second book of the month. I had already read a book before the first week of January. I had finished it the first week. Like, I read it in like 7 days, I think. It didn't take me too long, but I was consciously making sure that I was not reading it too fast. So it took me a little bit. I could have finished it way faster, but I was taking my time, and I was only reading a couple chapters at a time until I got towards like the latter half of the book, and then I finished like half of the book in one day. And so I was like, okay, I'll take a break from reading because I got really excited towards the end of that book and read it really fast. So I was like, we'll take a break. I took a week-long break from reading, and I didn't read a book for a week. And then I read Wolfsong, and I was like, but all the other Wolfsong books are available. So I read all of them in 5 days. There are 4 books. I read them in 5 days. And so I failed that goal. I read 5 books this month, and the month is not technically over. So, and I am listening to an audiobook currently. So if I finish that book, it'll be 6 books this month. And so I was like, fuck, I failed that goal. I mean, the goal was to get me to read more because I haven't been reading that much lately. But the goal was also to get me to be a little bit more conscientious about what I'm reading and retain what I'm reading. And I failed that one. So I failed that fucking goal, which is sad. But, I do like to read, and I'm glad that I read those books because it did give me inspiration for writing my college guys in a werewolf AU, and it reminded me that I actually do really like werewolves. I wish there were more werewolf books that were a little bit more, like, character focused, you know what I mean? But, it's fine. There's not that. If you guys know any good werewolf books, that would be great, and not, like, weird ones, you know what I mean? Because sometimes with werewolf stories, they can get, like, weirdly misogynistic, and like, you're my mate and you belong to me, and really possessive, and I don't really love that aspect of it. I mean, I can understand like a small bit of that, but where it's like the guy is like super weird and mean to like the girl, and like, you belong to me and nobody else can have you, that sort of thing. I don't really like that. It's like called like a dark romance. I don't really love dark romance, or like stories about like with like abuse. So maybe don't recommend me any of those because I will not read them. But any like more like the Wolfsong books were a little bit sad, but ultimately everybody was happy and okay by the end of them. I messed up this chin really bad. Whoops. And so that's what I like. I like a happy story where everything turned out okay in the end. So if you have any recommends for those, I will love to take them. So I really like those books. And so I read all 4 of them in 5 days. And I wish I hadn't because I actually really liked them. And I wish I would have took my time with them. But they were all right in front of me. If they had been like, if I would have had to wait for them, because that happens on Libby sometimes because they only have so many copies of books that you could borrow. When other people are like, there's like 5 books. And so 5 people are reading them. You have to wait your turn. So if I would have had to wait my turn, I could have probably waited to read them, but they were just all available right then. And so I was like, okay, thank you very much. I'll take those. So yeah, failed that goal. And then my other big goal for the year was to not buy any new art supplies. But the way I was wording it to myself, I think I forgot that it was supposed to be a no art supply rule. And I made it just a no buy rule in general. It's like I wasn't supposed to buy anything new. And so based on the rules of it being like no new art supplies, I did not fail that goal. But the goal of it being not buying anything, I did fail that goal, you guys. I failed it twice. So I bought a little Moft tripod for my phone because I was having a lot of trouble filming my little YouTube shorts. I was having a lot of trouble doing that because I suck at holding the phone and filming at the same time. I always have. And then I bought a desk mat for my desk just because the poster board that I typically use, it was getting really gross. And I was like, watching some other YouTubers video and they're like, this is a desk mat that I use. I was like, oh, I could get a desk mat to be the background of my videos. But I did do good. I did resist buying more than one because there were 2. And I was like, well, there's a bunch of different colors. And I was like, well, I'll just buy the black one because black is always the background of my YouTube videos anyway. And then I was like, there was this colored one that was like very close to my favorite color. It's like this bluish green color. It's the same color as my last sketchbook. So I was like, oh, we could buy that one. It could really brighten up the back of my videos. And I was like, well, I could buy both. And I was like, no, don't buy both. What if you don't like it? Then you don't need 2. And so I was able to listen to myself there and I was like, okay, I'll just buy one. And it also helps because I got rid of Amazon Prime and they were on Amazon. I got rid of Amazon Prime so that way it would also discourage me because if you don't have Amazon Prime, you guys, shipping really kicks your ass. Shipping is like $7 if you don't have Amazon Prime. And if you're buying something that's like $5 and then you add $7, it goes from $5 to like $12. And if you add tax, it goes from $5 to like $13 or $14. And so it really kicks up the price. So I was like, fuck, I'm not buying anything on Amazon anymore because that shipping really kicks your ass. So that's been really good. I'm glad that I canceled my Prime because it really is very discouraging to be like, oh God, that's like a lot of money. I'm not going to spend all that on that thing. I don't need it that much. I don't need it that much. So that's been really good. If you guys want to stop buying things from Amazon, just stop having Prime. Usually if you're a person who like really buys a lot of stuff on Amazon, you're like, well, I'll just buy Prime. I buy a lot of shit, right? And I feel like Prime is probably worth it with the amount of stuff that I was buying. I like bought a lot of shit. But now that I'm not buying anything, Prime is not really worth it. But god damn, if you have to buy just one thing, it makes it seem like Prime is worth it. Like, God, Jesus Christ, that's insane. So I failed that goal too. Technically if it was to not buy art supplies, that was not really, I didn't really fail it because the tripod is not really an art supply and neither is a desk mat. But in terms of not buying anything, I failed. I really do want to go on like a no-buy year just because I want to save money. And so, yeah, I'm really disappointed in myself that I failed that, but it's fine. I'm just going to try again in February. And I think that's the most important part about like New Year's resolutions. I feel like people fail and they're like, well, I fucked up. I failed. I'm just going to try again next year. And I'm like, no, don't do that. It's okay. You failed. You fucked up. That's okay. Keep going. Try again. You don't have to wait till next year to try again. And I think that's really important to remember. It's like, you can keep going. No one's saying you have to stop just because you failed 1 time or 2 times or however long. Just make sure you keep trying. And eventually you'll be able to form those habits. Like, I haven't really been tempted to buy things since I started this no buy. And usually, and I guess I did have a couple instances where I was like, well, maybe I should buy that. And I was like, no, I don't need it. And I would have been doing really well about that this year. With just the month of January, I've been doing actually really well about that. But I was just like, it makes sense. I need the tripod, right? Because the current tripod that I have is not really a tripod. It's an arm that holds up my camera. This is, you guys are like attached to like an arm to hold my camera, but it doesn't really work for up close stuff, for like shorts. And so I was like, well, if I'm gonna be doing shorts, it makes sense to get the small tripod. And I have used a small tripod so far. Even when I'm not doing shorts, like it's really great for typing on my phone. I don't really like to type on my laptop. I don't know why. I just don't really like the setup. Sometimes I like to attach it to my TV, but then sometimes I really don't want to attach it to the TV. It's kind of like a hassle. So I don't really type on my laptop. I mostly type on my phone. And I really like typing on my keyboard, like my physical keyboard, my mechanical keyboard. I don't mind typing just on the phone because it's easy. It's like ease of access. I can just like lay in bed and just like type real quick. But I really do like to use my keyboard. I paid a lot of money for my keyboard, and I like the way it is, and I like the way the switches feel and stuff. So I would like to use my keyboard more, and having a little tripod and setting it up makes it easier for me to use it in bed. That's where I mostly type, is in bed. So that makes it a little bit easier for me. So even without having to use it for my videos, it's already come in handy. So I think that was a good investment. And then also for the desk mat, also I feel like was a good investment, because the one I was using for my videos, my poster board was getting really gross. And that's not fun to see, you guys. And I feel like the desk mat is got a cleaner look, and what's it called? And I can wipe it down. Like if I get it dirty, I can just wipe it down. The poster board was made out of paper, so if anything wet was like on my desk, it would like soak into it, and you could like see the stains, and that was nasty. So I'm glad that I got the desk mat. So far, I've only used it for 2 videos, but I think it works better than the poster board did. So I wouldn't say that those were bad purchases, but I've done really good about not buying any art supplies. And then I have some other goals that were more personal goals, and I'll tell you guys right now, I failed those ones too. But that's okay. Like I said, I'm doing better. Like one of my goals was I didn't want to drink soda anymore, and I do really well with that. But I'm like, oh well, you could just have one soda. You get 1 soda per week. And so I failed the goal of not having any more soda ever. But I'm doing really well with just the 1 soda per week. I just have one on Saturdays when I go to the store. I buy myself 1 soda, and the rest of the time I just drink water. So I've been doing really well with that. But technically I failed the goal because the goal was no soda. And then I had another goal that was to eat vegetables every single day, and I failed that one because I've just been eating them every other day. I keep forgetting to eat them. I eat them when I go to work. Like for a snack, I just pack some carrots and some carrot sticks, and I pack tomatoes and cucumbers. I know tomatoes and cucumbers are fruit, you guys. The vegetable for that day is the carrots, and so I've been eating those every other day. And I've been trading that for fruit. So on some days when I go to work, I eat fruit. And then some days when I go to work, I eat the carrots and the tomatoes and the cucumbers. And so I've been able to eat vegetables every other day. It's just that on the days that I eat fruit, I forget to eat a vegetable at the end of the day, like for dinner. And so I have like rice, and I'll have like potatoes, but those don't really count as fruits. No, sorry, not as fruit, as vegetables. Rice is a grain, and potatoes are, you could argue that potatoes are a vegetable, but I would not argue that. So yeah, I've been failing that goal. But I've been doing pretty well about eating them every other day. I eat a lot more vegetables than I was before. Before I didn't really eat them very much at all, so I was like, I need to eat more vegetables. And so that's what the carrots are for. So far, carrots are the vegetable holding me down right now. I have broccoli, but I keep forgetting to make it. Not because I don't like broccoli, I do. It's just that usually I make dinner like a couple days in advance. Like I'll make like, I guess it's technically meal prepping, but not really, because it's like, I just make like food in bulk. Like it like comes in packets or whatever. Or it's like I have a certain amount of meat, and I'm like, well, I'll just cook it all up right now, and then I'll just eat it later during the week. And I always forget to like just make a broccoli with that, because it's all like together in like one bowl already. I'll just heat it up, and I'm like, okay, it's ready to go. And I'm like, oh wait, I should eat some broccoli on the side of this. But I always forget. That's the state of my New Year's resolutions. Are you guys doing better on yours? I hope so. If you failed them, I hope you're still trying. I would hate for you to give up just because you failed the once or the twice or the whatever. I think like it's okay to fail when you're doing New Year's resolutions, as long as you get back up. You know what I mean? I think Kira looks really cute in this one. I feel like her face is kind of off. for this no poker face side. But it might just be because her head is supposed to be tilted back. But I like that expression a lot. She's just like so excited. She's like, oh, my hand is so good. And she can't hide it. I think that's really funny. I like that sort of dichotomy for like serious characters or like characters who're supposed to be kind of scary. And they have like very, very cute like little quirks and stuff. I think it's funnier. And like how often is this really going to come up in story? Probably not. Like maybe like for one chapter or something. When they like probably have to like play poker to like win something from a different mafia family, but I just think it'd be really funny if she was like she's good at poker. She's just no poker face on this one. I think all characters should have like a silly little quirk. Like how in One Piece Zoro is always getting lost. And he's like the super cool, serious character, but he's always lost. Like he doesn't know, never knows where he's going. I think that's really funny. I think every character should have a silly quirk like that. And you know, unless it's like a drama or whatever, and no one's allowed to be silly. Okay, I'm gonna add our blushies now. Sometimes it's really hard with the blushies because it's like you gotta get them straight. I changed the way I've been doing blush lately. It's been like these straight lines instead. I'm not entirely sure if I prefer that to the other way I do blush, which was the diagonal lines. I think I'm going to use them for different things. I feel like this works better for like being cold. And the other one works better for like actual blushies, like embarrassed blushies. But I'm not sure yet. I know this hand over here only, she's like throwing out just like 4 cards. There's a 5th card, you guys. You just can't see it, okay? I was going to draw them smaller, but I was like, I guess we could add just like a slight, tiny bit of perspective there. I did take a reference of myself for this pose. This one I just got off the top of my head. I was just like, that's probably what it looks like, right? I only had a reference for the hands, but now that I have a tripod, it'll be great for reference photos. And it worked really well to get a reference photo for this pose. That one over there. So, and also the hand was also part of the reference photo. So I really wanted to know what the hand was going to look like. Did really good with the references. Sorry, I'm losing where this other card is. That's what happens when you don't erase the lines. You get confused. I know I do. Every time. And these cards are all different sizes, but that's okay. I was wanting to do a drawing on this other side of the paper that Kamau was on. Because I was like, well, it's got marker bleed there, but I kind of want to doodle something there. I decided against it because I was going to use the Hoo Puke markers, but they have really bad ghosting. And I tested them on a different page to see if they ghost on this paper as well. And they do, which is unfortunate. I wish they didn't, but they do. So they ghost on here pretty bad. And so I was like, well, I don't want to mess up that drawing because I actually like the way it turned out. So there's just nothing on that page. I'm not going to feel bad about putting anything on the back of this page, though, because it's just inking. And so since a lot of it's going to be black ink, it'll probably cover up pretty okay. So it won't be a big deal if I just color over it. I mean, sometimes ink sticks into the page, but really it just sits on top of the paper. So you can't really see through it, especially if it's black. And I'm going to add a lot of black on here. I don't know what I'm going to write for the dialogue spots. I do kind of know what this one is. I don't think I'm going to change the one for Kira. But this bottom one, I'm like, I don't know. Because currently it says, shit, I fold. Kira's got another good hand. But I'm not sure if I like that. I'm going to have to get a ruler to put this line down the center. I'm not great at straight lines, you guys. So I need a ruler to help me out. But I think everyone's like that. Unless you're like an architect or something. Well, definitely if you're an architect, because you need those lines to be straight. But if you're like a person who like practices straight lines every single day, you could probably get them pretty close to perfect. I'm not one of those people though. I don't practice that. Probably should practice a little bit though. I don't really pay any attention to these chips. I don't know anything about poker. So I don't know how you're supposed to stack these. If they have to stay in like piles of their own color or what. But it's gonna be in black and white, so it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna add lines to them later so that way they actually look like a stack of chips. But I'm not doing it right now. Should I have just drawn the bottom of these? Probably, but I'm not gonna. The bottom is in her hand, I guess. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and line that little speech bubble right there. And that one, I'm gonna leave it for right now. Alright, that's the end of the inking, you guys, pretty much. Let's start going ahead and adding in all of the black spots. And her outfit. It's gonna take a while. Probably I'm gonna speed through this because it takes a long time to add ink and ink wash in here. You think, are you gonna erase this? I'm gonna erase it after I add in all of the black spots just because it's not dry yet and I don't want to smear anything. You might be like, well, if it's gonna smear anyway, then does it really matter? You gotta cover it all up with black. And you know, that's a great point. But I'm not gonna cover her face, and I'm not erasing her face yet, you guys. If I smear her face, I'll cry. Either of her faces. They turned out pretty cute, so I prefer not to smear those. This is a great test drive to see if this sketchbook takes ink. I probably should have tested this on a different piece of paper before. I'm sorry, not a different piece of paper, on like the back of the sketchbook or something. But I'm lazy and I'm not testing that. No, I'm not lazy. I'm impatient. I don't want to wait. I'm just doing it now. It's fine. Okay, we'll save this hair for later because it overlaps on top of that black part. But this hair we can go ahead and ink because it's separated. The one closest to the face always freaks me out. Let's add some white to this side first. Just gonna follow the lines. I can still kind of see them. Ew, that did not layer in a way that I liked. That's not what I wanted that to look like at all. I think this is running out of ink. Please look nice. We're gonna erase this other one over here. I'm not gonna cry because it's not gonna be bad. It should all be dry by now. Hopefully. I said I wasn't going to start on the face, and that's true. We're gonna start down here. Okay, kind of fucked that one up. It did smear in some places on the face, but it's not the worst. This one should be a bit drier because I did that one first. So hopefully this dry. Okay, that one also smeared in some places, but it's nothing that can't be saved, okay? She needs some white in her hair real quick. Okay, there's that. Now we can start adding the eagle line brush pen. Oh, I do want her eyes to be black, so I like it when her eyes are all the way black, but they have like the shine on the corner. It makes her kind of look like a shark. That's the vibe she should give off anyway. Is like scary, shark-like. I probably should do this after I added those parts, because this is definitely gonna smear right on her eyes, and then it's gonna make me cry. As long as we don't touch her eyes, it should be okay. I think that this paper does not take this very well, the Ecoline brush pen very well. I have a feeling. Ecoline brush pen doesn't do very well in most sketchbooks, just because it's so wet. I'm sure it would do great on watercolor sketchbooks, but this is not a watercolor sketchbook. Okay, that's all I want to add there. Well, I'll add it to the back of the cards, so that way they actually look like cards. Okay, those actually look like cards now. That's good. Fill in her eyebrows real quick. And we'll just go ahead and add lines to the chips real fast, so that way they actually look like chips. Okay, those don't look like chips at all, but that's okay. And I'm going to add some Ecoline brush pen to the ones that are further away. It's gonna smear, but I don't care. Okay, hopefully that makes them look like they're further behind. This one too should be behind her arm. There. Okay, now we're just gonna add the words. I'm gonna probably speed through this one, you guys. You probably not even see it, so. Oh, we'll actually have to add the lines to her neck real quick. I always forget to do that. There, that makes me feel better. I can't draw a piece without any hatching at all, you guys. Come on. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I messed up this. I just freehanded it, so it looks like shit, but that's fine. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been a while since I did an inking video. I forgot how long it takes me to ink. But yeah, thank you guys so much for spending this time with me. I will go ahead and see you in the next one. Bye!